hello, and welcome to the FisherPoetry Podcast, a showcase of prose, poetry, and song written and performed by those in the commercial fishing community. Mostly. I'm your host, Brad. Thanks for joining us today. Today we are happy to be bringing you another installment of Sunday at Sea, a live show of maritime songs, stories, and good coastal fellowship hosted by Mark Allen Lovewell and Molly Knoll from Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. So, without further ado, here's their show. Okay, we are live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Sunday at Sea. We're in a whole different venue. We're
live in Chilmark.
We're in Chilmark. You can't find a more coastal farming community on Martha's Vineyard than Chilmark. Am I right out there? Yeah. They love Chilmark. We love Chilmark. It's the home of Menamsha.
Yeah. You can't get more salty than Menamsha.
So, what did we just play?
Well, for those of you who are new to our show, you might not know, but we have been starting with this song. You started it before I was even involved, I think, and it's called the Ukrainian National Anthem. And I have a feeling you probably all understand why we're playing that song.
And we're still playing it. And I thought we were going to play it for a little while. And I thought to myself, but it's so sad out there. They're having a tough time.
And we do this at the beginning to say we might be here to have a wonderful time, which we are, and we will. But we can't forget those hurts that there's a lot of people out there feeling. So we hold them in our heart while we are also celebrating the other things that make us human, which is that we love to sing, and we love to have fellowship, and we love to be together. So we celebrate all those things while we hold all of those cares in our heart. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
We
played that
we're not
one
like ostriches putting our
we're
heads in
thinking
the
of
sand
everything.
and ignoring the world affairs around us. This show is a very special show to all of us, and we want it to be relevant. Just singing old 19th century songs is not enough when you live in a coastal community. You need
tell the stories.
What matters, people care.
This is a good oldie. There's a chorus you'll pick up, so be sure to sing along.
Underdo to your bright Spanish maidens, farewell underdo to your ladies of Spain. Our captains commanded, we sailed for New England, straight up the channel to Bedford. Will rant and will roar like a New Bedford. Will rant and will roar on deck or aloft. from the southwest. Heave our ship to with the lead sounding clear. We'll fill our main topsail and sail straight away, boys, straight up the channel to New Bedford we'll go. We'll rant and we'll roar like a New Bedford weatherman. We'll rant and we'll roar on deck or below until we decide that old gay hen's life. It's straight up the channel to New Bedford we'll go. So let every man talk soft a full bumper. Let every man talk soft a full glass.
Yeah.
And we'll drink and be jolly and drown melancholy. Here's to the health of each true-hearted lass. Last times, please sing. We'll rant and we'll roar like a New Bedford weatherman. We'll rant and we'll roar on deck or below until we decide that old gay life. It's straight up the channel to New Bedford we'll go, we'll go, we'll go. Whoa! All right.
I gotta share it.
Can I be provocative?
check
I
this.
want to be provocative. Can I?
Oh boy, here he goes. Yes, please.
I sing sea shanties, songs about whaling, because it is part of my story. It's also the story of this island. Somebody on Martha's Vineyard has to sing these songs. So I'm not proclaiming myself the only one, but I'm simply saying I do it. And I've been doing it for a while. And for many of you, you know that I love whales. And you love whales. Please raise your hand if you love whales. It sounds like a contradiction to sing songs about killing of whales when whales are so precious. Well, this past week has been really hard for a lot of people. We learned a week ago that a 3-year-old female right whale washed up. Endangered. This is the endangered right. Washed up on a beach in Edgartown, a beach called Cow Bay. Less than 2 miles away from my family homesteads. Many of you know I'm a descendant of the Pease family, and we spent many, many, many voyages out hunting the whale. The story of the whaling and all of that helped build this country and built this island. You can't drive through these communities and not notice these amazing old houses that were ornate and beautiful, and churches they were built with whaling money. Because in those days you had no idea what was going on out in the open ocean, and they were fearful of that. So here you have this right whale, an endangered species, only 350 of them left, washing up on Cow Bay. It's very hard, and I'm sure you as well as I, all of you up and down the East Coast, are sensitive to the idea that there is this beautiful creature of the sea that is troubled and almost wiped out from the earth. We used to have an Atlantic gray whale. They are gone. We have plenty of West Coast Pacific gray whales because there was a huge effort, a resurgence, and those whales came back. We have to learn from that loss of the... So here's a message for today that I hope you take home with you. That whale that died was found on the beach. I can't tell you what killed it. I can't tell you who to blame. No, that will be portrayed by scientists and researchers. But it had line entangled on its tail, and they had documented that on a 3-year-old whale for 2 years. No one can tell me that the right whale is doomed for extinction because he can't make it on his own. The only reason I believe, and maybe somebody can argue with me, the only reason why those whales are in trouble is because of us. Because of us. And we're going to figure this out. I know many fishermen who spend sleepless nights trying to figure out how to deal with this. It's not easy. It's an economic impact on their community. It's an economic income impact for everyone in this coastal community. You want our fishermen to be okay. And you don't want anybody saying, oh, I'm not going to eat this or I'm not going to eat that because of the dying of right. We're going to figure this out. And that is the message I want to share with you tonight. And I want to give you an invitation. When you sit back at home later in the days ahead, and if you feel a poem coming to you, if you feel a writing, if you have a grandson or a child who loves to draw pictures of whales. When I was a little kid, I used to draw pictures of whales. Please, scan it, take a picture of it, and send it to me. We'll show them on this show. It's an ongoing story. This is not going away. This is not the last time this program is going to be having a moment of that. And feel good about this, because the circumstances around this troubled whale are not what they were 10 years ago, are not what they were 20 years ago. Fishermen and fisheries managers are sitting down, they're scratching their heads, and they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure it out. There's not a selfish one of them that doesn't somehow care that we solve this problem. All the way from this whale that died was recorded in the St. Lawrence Seaway 2 years ago, Canada. Who's to say where it picked up that line? But we know that these whales swim in our waters. They're returning to our waters. And as a tribute to these whales, Molly and I are going out whale watching on the West Coast when we visit my son.
We're going on the East Coast too. We were given a.
I've seen many whales in my lifetime. And Molly went out to Provincetown all by herself. We went out for a trip. And it is so heartening, so full of warmth and glow to be able to see these beautiful animals at sea. And we honor them and we celebrate them. And all right, so what's all the next? All right, so I've done this. So I want to give a shout out. Now we switch to positive.
Give a shout out.
If any of you have picked up these notices on Facebook Live of this show tonight, you've seen drawings by my brother Frank Lovewell, who's seated right over there. Wait, raise your hand, Frank, so at least the folks here can see. There he is. These wonderful drawings. He got a wonderful picture of Charlotte.
Hey, Brad, I'm going to take camera number 2, and I'm going to swivel it over to show Frank.
Frank, come on over. Can you come on over, Frank?
There
come
we
on
go.
over.
There he is. Yay! Look at this
Yay,
nice
here we go.
captain.
All right, let's slow down.
Yay!
Yay.
Look at the captain hat. Nice touch.
When we were kids growing up, we were all drawing pictures of whales. It's just this amazing, astounding story about us. All right, so here we go. So now the next thing we're going to do, we got to do a shout. We're also saying that Molly and I are going to be performing February 16th.
Oh, that's right.
Friday, February 16th at the Cape Cod Maritime Museum. So please. So we're going to do that. Whiskey for so the next step is Dan, right? We got Dan now.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. That's great.
All right.
We have special guests tonight.
We got special
This
local
place
guests.
is full of them, and we can't wait for all of you guys that are out there watching the show to be introduced to these wonderful performers. We got a tease of them just a short while ago at 5 o'clock show, but now we get to share with you guys. Oh, what a treat! So our first guest up is going to be Dan Waters, and I'm gonna move so he can have a nice little seat here.
Oh, okay. It's a special entrance here.
Exactly. We did it the same way. Yay, let's give it up for Dan Waters.
So can I introduce? I'm going to introduce. Dan Waters is a dear friend of mine. We go back to the days when I started working at the Gazette 43 years ago.
Oh my God.
44 years I've known this man. He used to work at the Vineyard Gazette with me. We put up with a lot of this and that. And he was very creative from the very start, and I was creative too. And so this friendship goes back, and he's just a terrific fellow. He writes poetry, is the poet laureate, and many times over for this community. He's celebrated in this community. He can't go anywhere without people recognizing and acknowledging his talent as both a musician, a poet, a lyricist, and a photographer on top of that as well.
Well, Mark and I have a lot of things in common. Mark is one of the most creative people I know. It was a real treat to work with him at the Gazette and compare notes about all kinds of things. I think we really never lost touch. I ended up not working for the Gazette, and Mark spent his life at the Gazette. But we never lost touch anyway. Of course, we're always lived on Martha's Vineyard, which is not a terribly large place.
It's an honor to have him here with you.
Well, thank you. You guys asked me to bring some maritime material. I don't actually write that many. I don't own a boat, and I'm not a fisherman. But you can't avoid being touched by the ocean in many ways when you live on Martha's Vineyard. I was moved to hear you just now talking about the whale that washed up at Cow Bay. Whales are not the only endangered marine species around. I wrote this song some years ago when Martha's Vineyard had something called the Monster Shark Tournament, which happened in Oak Bluffs. And it was a summertime event. It was to promote tourism and so forth, but the main activity was for fishermen to go out, or sports people, if you can call it a sport, go out and find the biggest shark that you could possibly find. These sharks were so big that you couldn't really pull them into the boat alive, so they would hook them, bring them up to the boat, shoot them with a shotgun, bring them back to Oak Bluffs Harbor, haul them up with a chain and hook outside of our market in Oak Bluffs Harbor. And crowds would gather around and get their picture taken. And it was a brutal scene. And a lot of us were pretty upset by it. This cruel activity it was a waste of life and nature. So a man named Steve Maxner, who is one of our local heroes, a Vietnam vet, medic in Vietnam, organized a protest against the Monster Shark Tournament, and it got a bunch of us musicians to get together and write songs about sharks. And so we created a Save the Sharks CD, which was for sale at our local supermarket. It must have sold all of 15 copies, but it raised awareness anyway. And within a few years, that tournament was gone. But this song is the closest, was my contribution to that CD. So.
Steady with the shotgun, got nothing.
say I'm very happy to say that the Monster Shark Tournament is ancient history and will probably never be back. On a happier note, I wanted to share a little bit of my poetry. Back when they retired the ferry, the Islander, which Mark would remember very well, we were all very sad. It was a boat that we'd loved for half a century. And I wrote a long poem, which I cannot read the entire thing of because it would use up the rest of your program. But the Vineyard Gazette wanted to feature it, and they ended up featuring it on the front page, which was unusual. The Gazette does not usually print an entire front page of nothing but poetry. So I was very honored to have that. But I thought I'd read some sections from the poem that kind of capture what it was like to be on the Islander, which is a wonderful old ferry boat full of, the humblest details summarized her mission. Kielbasa dogs, green naga hide, and space to sprawl and nap. Her time was a more leisured time, our place a more leisurely place when she began her run. Her Eisenhower-era posters showed us how one laced a life vest in the era of the Cold War, while expressive crayon masterworks by island children begged us not to shower litter on their beach. One chose one's perch with care, formica table, iron bench, or snack bar booth. Some few preferred to lurch the aisles collecting gossip, with a penchant for inquiring, off just for the day? Replying, one knew better than to mention handsome gynecologists one might be going off to see, or one's divorce. On ferry boats, you pay for what you say. You also paid for all you ate, of course. Unless your stomach was a Sherman tank, the ship's kielbasa dogs could be a source of misery. If wise, you simply sank your weary head into the naga hide for now and let your empty tummy thank you later. Years of marshmallowy paint applied to metal edge had smoothed many a sorrow born of land. She rescued us. To hide her brisk escape, our hero wore a Zorro mask across her windows as she rose and crashed through swells receding toward tomorrow. That last part is a reference to this black stripe that ran around the windows of the, I don't know if you have a zoom,
I love that Zorro stripe. Yes, I got to zoom in on that. Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's kind of a trademark of the Steamship Authority to have a black stripe running through the windows. So it kind of looks like a Zorro mask on a ferry boat.
Great, I love it.
Anyway, do we have time for a little bit more?
Oh, please.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I will continue the poem.
Yes.
It's a bit of an epic. She gave her lifetime to this single route, a lifelong battle with the seething sound, and she was not afraid to face a brutal northeast tempest that could pull her under. Great walls of water shattered at her wheelhouse, lashing at her batten lifeboats, thundering against her freight deck portals. Steel complained at every beating. Angry gouts of ocean bursting through the seams, the squeal of man's construction holding mayhem out, but only by the grace of latch and hinge. The cars, like anxious horses, bucked about, their rubber ankles wading in a fringe of surf that washed the deck and rippled free. Upstairs, composed, determined not to cringe, the human cargo clung to dignity as if it floated. Windows outside dripped with sea. Within, they bore a fogged graffiti formed of human breath and circles wiped to watch in wonder. Others huddled, fighting not to feel the shudders, coffee gripped in nervous knuckles, while the tawny lighting flickered, fragile as a candle flame. And thus she made her way, a lantern floating in a dark Atlantic storm. The same predicaments and perils in whose thrall the likes of Herman Melville earned their fame. And when at last we landed, we stood tall, if not on steady feet, on solid stone, and always grateful to have sailed at all. Of course, that last part, of course, is a reference to how lucky you are to get on the boat and get all the way across, because it's not always a certain thing. That is another factor of our lives.
We as a community love the Islander. It was such a, and the thing is with a ferry boat, it only is worthwhile if you're using it, and no one could come up with a plan to save her that would economically save her, so that we could use her. And so the moments for those of us, I flew over her in an airplane and took pictures of her on her departure when she was headed away from Martha's Vineyard for the last time. And she has since been dismantled to just her hull. But Dan was the perfect guy to write the poem, She gets it. He gets it.
Well, it's so symbolic of, it's the one common experience everyone on Martha's Vineyard has. We all depend on that ferry, and if you've been here long enough, it is the lifeline to the mainland.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Do you...
All right, we're ready for our next band. I just want to report that we're getting some messages from some of our Facebook friends that our signal is a little bumpy. It may be because we're out in the woods, I don't know. But anyhow, just hang in there with us, everyone. We're doing what we can. And now we got this band coming up. Here they come.
We're a band. Wow.
All right. Here comes the band.
Here comes the band.
Never been called a band before. We are a band, yes. Band of brothers.
While we're tuning, I'd like to say that Dan Waters I live in West Tisbury, and he's our town moderator. And the town moderator moderates an annual town meeting where 300 people get together to decide town bylaws and have to spend $22 million. It takes about 3 hours, and Dan oversees that discussion with grace and dignity. And I think we could use him in the House of Congress. Thank you, Dan.
I don't know if you guys can squish just a tiny bit, but I want to make sure that everybody at home gets to see all of you. So if you're able to just push in a tiny little bit, just a tiny bit, that's perfect. Thank you. That's great. Wonderful.
I want to make sure our friends can hear you.
All right. We're going to sing a song about a ship, a sword fishing boat back in the day, late 40s, early 50s. Anybody called the Aphrodite. It was a beautiful black mahogany boat, and anybody who has ever seen the boat remembers it. It was spectacular, and you were talking about your friendship of 44 years, and I was mighty impressed, but the author of the Aphrodite and I go back 80-some years, and Jane Slater, who's sitting here, wrote this song about this boat called the Aphrodite, and we're going to sing it. It was about a sword fishing boat at the time when Menemsha was a sword fishing headquarters, and when in the morning there were boats were 6-7 deep, and they'd cast off and they'd all leave early in the morning, and they come back the same day with swordfish. Imagine that. That was a long time ago, and the swordfish would weigh 400 and 500 pounds. None of us has seen a swordfish that big for many, many years. But this is a song about those days and about the captain of the ship, Nelson Blount, and takes me back to my youth, right, Jane? and Jack too. So it's the Aphrodite. great Atlantic Ocean, wide Pacific shore, from the green hills of Rhode Island, Martha's Vineyard shore. You sure saw handsome, she's known quite well by all. She's the Aphrodite or the Warren Cannonball. So listen to the jingle, the rumble and the roar. She glides along by no man's land, by the head by the shore. In the mighty rush of her engine, hail lonesome captain call. She's riding to Menancha on the Warren Cannonball. Well, she came to Menancha on a warm July day. She on through the jetties, you could hear those fishermen say, sure is some sword fishing rig along as she is tall. What the hell does Aphrodite mean? She's the Warren Cannonball. Oh, listen to the jingle, the rumble and the roar. She glides along by no man's land, by the head and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of her engine, hear the lonesome captain call. Riding to an engine on the Warren Cannonball. But now sword fishing is dandy, all the people say. From No Man's to Nantucket and the lightship by the way. When Nelson finally gets one, it's known quite well by all. He'll carry it back to Everett Shack on the Warren Cannonball. Oh, listen to the jingle, the rumble and the roar. He glides along by no man's land, by the head by the shore. Hear mighty rush of her engine, hear lonesome captain call. She's riding to Menancha on the Warren Cannonball. Now sword fishing is dandy. No, we just did that. Here's to Captain Nelson, may his name forever stand. May he always be remembered in the ports throughout the land. When his earthly race is over, the maidens will recall many happy nights aboard the Warren Cannonball. Oh, listen to the jingle, the rumble and the roar. She glides along by no man's land, by the head by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of her engine, hear the lonesome captain call. She's riding to Menancha on the Warren Cannonball. Now she went down in Menancha in an August hurricane. She sank down to the bottom, you could hear those fishermen sing. There goes the Aphrodite, the fairest of them all, but she'll always be remembered as the Warren Cannonball. Oh, listen to the jingle, the rumble and the roar. She glides along by no man's land, by the head by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of her engine, hear the lonesome captain call. She's riding to Menancha on the Warren Cannonball. She's riding to Menancha on the Warren Cannonball.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you.
Andy Goldman.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
That was wonderful.
Oh, that is so good. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having us.
Oh my God, what a treat.
You. What a treat.
Oh, thank you.
See if we can wind our way out of here.
There you go. Step by there. Perfect. All right.
Well done.
Yay.
Isn't that fun? Oh my gosh. We have fun around here. In February. It's not even Valentine's Day yet. We're having fun.
That's right.
All right, she's got to go around and fix the cameras, everyone. I just want to see.
I think you're good.
We're going to be all right?
Yep, I think so.
We still got a crowd here.
Yeah.
This is good. This is so good.
Great crowd here.
All right. So the next thing we want to do an instrumental, right? We're gonna do an instrumental. We're gonna do a song called "Whiskey Before Breakfast." I have to tell you, the guy who wrote it was sober. But boy, he came up with a great name. Whiskey Before Breakfast?
Isn't that good? I love this too because you listen to it, you're going to hear some hiccups. You just listen. You're going to hear 'em. You're going to hear 'em. It's great. It's a great tune.
Fun.
All right.
This is so cool.
All right, here we go. All right, I gotta make sure I'm not gonna bonk you.
We're gonna go slow.
All right, I'll go like this way, so.
Here we go.
1, 2, 3.
Here we go. Do we have enough time?
We have enough time.
We got enough time, so we
We
can do
have
it.
enough
Yeah, because we had major discussions about it.
We just didn't have any
I mean,
idea
the
how
idea-
long we were gonna need to do stuff for.
We have these wonderful people here, and we wanted to say to ourselves, we'll make sure they have time to play, so that because people hear us all the time. Our audience, I don't know. So anyhow, we got to do this song. This is called "Fishing Boat Sarah."
That's right. So it's kind of along the lines of what you guys did, which was so wonderful. It was so great. So wonderful. Are you doing harmonica too?
Oh my God, yeah.
Do you
So
need
can
me
you
to
see
go
that?
get it?
Yeah, can you get?
Is it over there? It's
yeah,
over there.
it's
All right.
All right.
I'll be back.
Help out.
I'll be back.
So anyhow, I'll talk the song. It's the C harmonica. So here's a song that I wrote 2018. How many years ago was that? 5 years ago? 4 years ago? 5 years? 4 years ago?
6.
6 years. Anyhow, I wrote this song as a tribute to commercial fishermen. And I was thinking of Menemsha. And I was thinking of so many families. You know, fishing boats are the home away from home. Fishing boats are a place where family members go, and I'm thinking of the Larson family. I'm thinking so many, the Laurie family, people, fathers and daughters and sons go to sea and go fishing, and nobody's written a song about that because it's a treasure. You know, today commercial fishing boats are corporate owned and they got crews. I don't want to be critical of them, but I just want to say that for our community on Martha's Vineyard, and for many of you out there who live near fishing ports, you treasure you treasure those families that work hard, come home with the catch, and feed their families and feed the community, feed the town. You know, it wasn't like shipping it off somewhere else, but you fed your community. And so nobody had written a song about that. So
Wait, before you get going, can I take in the chorus? Because we really want you guys to sing along on the chorus in this one. Here's the words. Riding on the ocean, turning with the tide. Riding on the ocean, turning with the tide. Hauling in that net.
Hauling in that net.
Our friends by our side.
Our friends by our side.
And then you say by our side again. All right, so let's do it again. Riding on the ocean.
Riding on the ocean.
Turning with the tide.
Turning with the tide.
Hauling in that net.
Hauling in that net.
Our friends by our side.
Our friends by our side.
By our side.
By
You got
our
it.
side.
You
you
got
can
it.
visualize these families working on deck, you know, the father and son, you know, working it. Anyhow.
And there's another line that you're going to hear a lot. Sarah, carry us on, carry us on.
It's a fishing boat, Sarah. You know, it's not the Mary and Verna, because if you say Mary and Verna, you're going to leave somebody out. If you say Mary Elizabeth, you're leaving somebody else out. And if you're leaving Dorothy and Everett, you're leaving somebody else out. So the idea is I created this name. It's actually, there's a cat boat at Cape Cod Maritime Museum called Sarah. I figured that would keep me out of trouble. So it's a fishing boat, Sarah.
Okay, you ready for this?
Oh my God.
Your props. You need your props.
I need my harp.
Harmonica part comes in and it's really good, so it's worth waiting for.
She's my brains. She
Prop
holds me
manager.
together. She's so terrific. Anyway.
I love this song. Beautiful.
Sarah rose through the waves, sailing out to the sea, carrying a net full of our hopes and the dreams of our family. She is a fishing boat, she's our home, she's our home away from home. Rising, rolling and rocking, Sarah carry us on.
It's gonna come back again.
Carry us on. Through the Quixhole Passage, at dawn we're bound far away, leaving the town, the bright lights and the sounds of the day. Leaving breakfast on the table, leaving our neighbors and friends behind. We're heading east to the fish, Sarah carry us on. Carry us on. Best measure of what we do is not the fish in the hole. Biggest payback isn't when the fish are sold. We got memories of Grandpa, a Highlander back in his day. We're carrying his story, Sarah carry us on. Engine sings below the deck, the wake swirls from behind. May tell you something about who we are and the sparkle in our eyes, but it doesn't hold a coin to the women we left at the dock. Garden in the backyard, the clothes hanging on along Georges, watching the whales swim by. Plenty of room for all of us when the fish finally arrive. I don't know what you're talking about. This small boat belongs out here. We're doing all right. Sarah, carry us on. Carry us on. Riding on the ocean, turning with the tide. All in that net, our friends by our side. By our pilot house windows foggy, the radar spins round and round. The coffee's burnt and it's too hot, the autopilot is down. The net is coming back loaded, there's seagulls drifting nearby. We're done our fishing, Sarah, carry us home. Riding on the ocean, turning with the tide.
Gotta get a big breath for this, of course.
Riding on the ocean, turning with the tide.
You guys did good.
Hauling in that net, our friends by our side.
Yeah.
All right, this is the last verse, and this is the most important verse of all. Wishes that we carry makes being out here so great, that our loved ones are cared for and their dreams they are met. We all want good weather, we want a lot of fish out here. We're turning to the west, Sarah, carry us home. Carry us home.
All right, here we go. Big breaths. Here we go.
Riding on the ocean, turning with the tide. Riding on the ocean, turning with the tide. Hauling in that net, our friends, our sons, our grandsons, our granddaughters,
And our daughters.
and daughters by our side. Yeah, we're doing all right.
I love that one. I love that one. Don't
You're awesome, audience. If I ever think of any audience that would be more prepared for this song,
You're
my
in.
New Hampshire buddies out there, every one of you, look out there, every one of you is a relative that's related to somebody who gets their feet wet.
That's right. Captain Maggie. Oh,
Oh, no,
I wish we had two.
we got only a few minutes late.
Rolling home. Rolling home.
We're gonna finish.
You know, this is a Gail Huntington tune. If some of y'all know Gail Huntington. That's right. That's right. That's right. So this is a must do. In fact, we always usually end our show with this one, and this is a great sing along. So the chorus is this: rolling home, rolling home, rolling home across the sea. Rolling home, rolling home, rolling home across the sea. So that's the first part of it. And then it's rolling home to dear New England. Rolling home near God to thee. That's it. All right. So you're
This song has traveled around the world more times than any
Get
tune.
by there, Pam. Watch the step there.
I'm just coming to sing with you.
Good. Thank you. Yes, the chorus can sit right there.
This song has
Thank you.
traveled around the world more than any Elvis Presley hit. Because it was passed from one sailor to... I'm going to just take the risk of saying that. Let's see if we hear from somebody who yells at me and says that's not true. This is a song that was sung by sailors, taught to each other by sailors, brought from one ship to another, and circulated the world.
Isn't that cool?
Sea shanties are amazing songs. We don't know who wrote it, but it was written before the Civil War. It was, or at the time when the whaling industry was at its peak, when ships were traveling all the oceans and sailors thought of home. It is a song that I learned from Gail Huntington, and if for anyone who doesn't know who he was this wonderful fellow, a wonderful, low-key, easy, loving person. His wife Mildred was just as nice as her.
She's really nice.
Anyhow, I knew them really well, and they encouraged me. Gail said to me, "Mark, sing sea shanties. You know, you could put a song on a record, you could put it in a book, and you can hang it on the shelf. But the way to do it is sea shanties must be sung with people.
Say that again.
With salty people." And he's right. He's absolutely right. These are songs that so many of the folk songs you grew up today don't belong on a record. They belong to you singing at lunchtime or dinner or doing this and that with just the fellowship that gets generated. How many of you felt that way when you heard them doing the song? You know,
It's good. Yeah,
you
you just
know,
want to sing
am
along.
I right?
It's so
You know,
good.
you feel really warm inside when you hear a song you know and you grew up with and you heard. I hear people nodding their heads. Folks on the camera, you can't see them, but we got people in the audience doing this. I hope you are too.
And they're not bobbleheads. It's just
So please sing with us if you've heard this too many times.
sing it louder.
Put up. And remember my invitation to you. Write me some poems. Write me some stories. Write me stories, things that connect with you to the story that we told early in the evening. Please do that. Please do that. Let's stay connected.
That's right. Here you go.
All our hands to man the capstan. See the cable running clear. We will Lord, the sails were full of snow. Tighten the sheets and pull in those halyards. Let her off and let her go. Here we go. Rolling home, rolling home, rolling home across the sea. Rolling home, clear England. Rolling home, dear Adelaide. All right, one more verse.
One more verse.
This is it. No more sea shanties tonight.
Next week.
Thank you for being a wonderful live audience for us. Thank you for those of you.
We love you.
Thank you for the folks on Facebook who put up with a little digital this and a little digital that. We're going to put together a better version of it for you too.
YouTube. Go to YouTube. Mark down Ludlow. It'll be there.
Many thousands miles behind us. Many thousand miles below. The ocean is turn waves within us to that rolling home.
Yeah.
Rolling home, rolling home across the sea. Rolling home
Where to here?
to Martha's Vineyard. Rolling home, dear Adelaide. Thank you, everyone. What a treat. What a treat. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Next week we'll have you all in my living room.
Okay. That's right.
After hours?
Oh yeah, we could do it. We could do it after hours one. Sure.
You want another song?
Encore?
To the
Encore?
vineyard.
All right. We gotta
Okay, I'll go back to my hubby.
This is by popular demand. This is a song I wrote called Captain Maggie.
Oh, this is such a Meneptah song too. You're gonna love this one.
This needs a quick little introduction too, because I just told you about how much I love fishermen, right? You know, we love fishermen in our community. Well, when you think of you live in an island community, how much is done by the women of this island? Yeah. How much business is done by the women?
Yes.
They are wonderful. They're behind the scenes pushing and pulling and doing all the amazing things they do. And we know the lobster fishery is in trouble. They're having a hard time. We just talked about right whale. It's hard. The scarcity, you get all kinds of issues that I don't want to go through here, but I love the people who go lobstering. I love the people who go out for a day, come back with what they could get and deliver it to be distributed. Mostly, some of it gets shipped off island, but a lot of it gets eaten here. And for us on Martha's Vineyard, and you know what I'm talking about. You know who they are. You know them by their first and last name. You know them by the names of their boats. And putting a face to them is hard because they're just such a diverse group of people. We love them so much. We love them being diverse. So anyhow, all these things, you mix that up in a little soup. And I thought to myself, why not write a song about a woman lobsterman? A woman lobsterman, okay?
And there's a chorus in this one too. And for this one, you gotta pretend you got something in your hand because you're gonna toast to her. And we'll toast to Captain Maggie. Don't cut her off when tending your gear. She's fish with the best. There's only a few better. She's tough when the going's rough around here.
And
So
I know you know
that'll
that
keep
line.
coming back.
She's tough when the going's rough around here. Say it with me. She's tough
when the going's rough
around here. I know you know this.
So here we go.
Off the stern the water is churning. Lobster pots are dropped into the brine. At the wheel there stands a fine lady. She's the best of the fishing kind. Among us pot haulers south of no man's, there's a wicked strong wind, so beware. We leave the dock early in the morning, get the best of the day's fishing out there. So we'll toast to Captain Maggie. Don't cut her off when you're tending your gear. She's fished with the best, there are only a few better. She's tough when they're going rough around here. Come on, you're gonna help me. Maggie sets her trawls along the bottom. Her vision is a feeling round the world she can't see. She makes the best out of the 6-fathom edge. Her day's haul will be better than me. Off no man's shoreline, boulders don't care. They'll sink any boat that comes near. The waves, the wind, and those jagged rocks can send any boat down, so stay clear. So we'll toast to Captain Maggie. Don't cut her off when you're tending your gear. Here's your part. She's fished with the best, there are only a few better. She's tough when they're going rough around here. Each morning she's dressed for work like all of us. No colorful dress or blouse around here. We know her by her worn orange Grundens, tall black rubber boots, all men's fishing gear. At night, when her boat is in the harbor, she's all lady at the pub, among the finest in fair. She can twist and turn with any tune. On the dance floor, she's free without a care. Here we go. Here's your part. So we'll toast to Captain Maggie. Don't cut her off when you're tending your gear. She's fished with the best, there are only a few better. She's tough when they're going rough around here. All right, one more verse. Let's see. One stormy night she was out fishing late. The fog slipped in, waves chased her astern.
When her boat finally landed, a man was awaiting. He stepped out of the shadow and under the glow of a lantern. We watched as he pulled out a wet paper bag. He handed it to her in that foggy night. She opened it, a bouquet of flowers. We all thought we saw her tears. Last time, here we go. So we'll toast to Captain Maggie. Don't cut her off when you're tending your gear. She's fished with the best. There are only a few better. I want to hear you now. She's tough.
What they call it, rough.
Around here. She's tough when they're going rough. Around here. She's tough when they're going rough. Around here.
That was Sunday at Sea, hosted by Mark Allen Lovewell and Molly Knoll of Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. Thank you, Mark and Molly. It was a real pleasure to have you on the show today. For more information about Sunday at Sea, please check out the link included in the podcast description. Well, that's it. This one's in the tote. The Fisher Poetry Podcast is written and produced by me, Brad Wortman. Music used in this episode is courtesy of Mark Allen Lovewell and Molly Knoll. We're always looking for Fisher poets like Mark and Molly to come on the show. If you'd like to appear or have comments about the show, please send an email to thefisherpoetrypodcast@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe to haul the latest episodes into your net. The Fisher Poetry Podcast is available via our podcast host, Anchor, and several other hosts, including Apple, Google, and Amazon. Please also check out our videos on the Fisher Poetry channel on YouTube and visit the Fisher Poetry Podcast page on Facebook. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
Come all young sailormen, listen to me. I'll sing you a song of the fish in the sea. Blow, ye winds, westerly, westerly blow. We're bound to the southward, so steady she goes.